So all of this all weekend, like you know me, I treasure every day that I'm above ground.
Yes.
Every day. Try to live life all in every day. Can we just get to the end of April, please?
At the end of April, okay.
For the draft day.
Oh,
just get this done because I'm so sick of people I respect in the industry. Oh, my God, did you see Caleb Williams congratulated Cliff Kingsbury on Instagram? It's his coach. What do you think he's going to do?
Khalib.
I mean, it's so stupid. And then I got people out there tweeting, well, this means he's absolutely going to Washington. Well, guess what? We have the number one pick. In case you're not aware out there, the Bears have the number one pick. Well, I hear that his dad wants to change the contract. I mean, it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
One of those people you're talking about is Adam Schefter,
Yes.
who's trying to connect the dots of Caleb Williams and Cliff Kingsbury because of their relationship.
Right. My dog, congrats. Dog, D-A-W-G. From Caleb to Cliff Kingsbury, Kingsbury in a Washington shirt.
Sure.
Okay, great. If Ryan Poles does all his homework and determines the guy he wants is Caleb Williams, there isn't anything they can do about it. Nothing. Well, we'd rather go to if he came out and said that. It does not matter. Some of this stuff is so ridiculous. The kid, by all accounts, everyone who's spoken about him, he's a really good kid. He wants to win. Great interview with Sylvie and Jesse on Friday. Great stuff. If that's who they determine is the guy, that's who they're getting. Can we stop? It is not slanderous of Justin to say, we like Caleb Williams better. If you like him better, then take him. If you want to build around Justin, build around Justin. But a lot of this nonsense is insanity. Cliff Kingsbury's a washout of Texas Tech. He's a failure with the Arizona Cardinals. He was a freaking consultant last year. He wasn't even the OC at USC.
Yes, nobody fails up more than Cliff Kingsbury.
Right.
He fails up into jobs because he does have some success as an offensive mind. Hey, listen, Dan Quinn is the new head coach for Washington. He needs someone that can be able to run his offense under Cliff Kingsbury, and that's fine, but I don't see the connection of Caleb Williams to Washington, and here's why. The Bears are the one who has the NFL by the balls, again, back-to-back years.
Correct.
They've got the NFL world by the balls, and why is that? It's because they have the number one pick. You can do what you want with it.
That's
you
correct.
can be able to put your pick in there. You can trade that pick as they did last year. So it's not like, hey, Washington, let's swap picks. Here, look, I'll take two, and you take one. Because we want Drake May, because we want less than.
Correct.
Or Jaden Daniels or whatever. So we'll just give you the number one pick and we'll just take two. That makes no sense.
Okay.
Because you have the control of the draft.
Correct. If you want Caleb Williams here, you're getting him here. I mean, people tweeting at me, well, what if he says he doesn't want to be a Bear? Well, guess what? Then he can go use his USC degree and get a job, or he can go sit out for a year, which is never going to happen. He's going wherever he gets drafted. And he made that clear to Colin Cowherd, who had to walk his ridiculousness from the other day back. I thought Sylvie pressed him really well.
Yeah, so if you missed it, you can go in the archives of the ESPN Chicago app, click Waddle and Sylvie. It was a 3 o'clock hour, right at 3, where they had Colin Cowherd from Fox on the broadcast. Now, let's go back and hear what Colin Cowherd said last week regarding Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Listen.
There's some concerns here that Dad's a little too involved. Now, dads are very, very involved in high school and college quarterbacking. So that's just part of the new world we live in. But I still contend, you're going to think I'm nuts here. I do think it's possible that Washington trades up and Chicago allows Washington to trade up. Because Caleb and his group do not want to go to Chicago. He's from the D.C. area. I think Dan Quinn is considered the big concern for Caleb Williams, and you have to admit this. Where you land matters. Chicago has never developed a star quarterback.
Okay, so what I told you last week came to fruition on Friday with Sylvie and Jesse on the Waddle and Sylvie show, and that is a kernel of truth wrapped around a whole bunch of opinion.
Correct.
Right. We're not saying that he doesn't have insight, because Colin's been around the beat for a long time. He knows a lot of different people. He finds himself, or try to fancy himself, as a USC expert because he's in Los Angeles. Point is, though, is that you might have a source in there that says, yeah, you know what, we're concerned about Chicago because of their past and how they handle quarterbacks. That's fine. But then he wraps it around a bunch of Chicago's at the right place, and Poles is not a good GM yet, and Warren, and they're a bunch of neophytes, all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So that was my problem. So he says that last week, and then is on with Sylvia and Jesse, and there's a little pushback on the Caleb Williams comments. Listen.
I said, listen, the Chicago thing is dicey, and I don't think everybody in this camp loves it, and I don't think they do. But then I was driving home from dinner last night about 8, and I got called by somebody in Caleb's camp. And, he doesn't have a big camp. He's not an entourage guy. He's got like a marketing girl and a scheduler, but his camp is small. It's a tent. It's not much of a camp. So somebody called and said, hey, we just don't want to be viewed as anti-Chicago. And they said, we do think there's a way to win quickly there, and it's the Houston way. Defensive coach, couple of weapons, cap space, and he said he thinks the defense is actually going to be really, really good. So he follows it. But I think, the things I had heard early is his dad's a big personality, strong personality, big opinions, good guy. Don't know him well, know Caleb better. And Caleb doesn't always agree with him, but he's a dad. And Eli Manning's dad and John Elway's dad. They're concerned.
Okay. I can see how a cousin or a nephew that's in the camp of Caleb Williams, because they're family, saying, Chicago, they haven't really been successful being able to pick quarterbacks. Do they have the infrastructure? Every team has to be able to put their best foot forward and say, yes, we are the franchise you should come to. If we draft you, we're going to do everything we can to supply you with enough talent around you so you can be able to win. Every draft pick should have some concerns. No matter what, I don't care if it's San Francisco or if it's New England, Chicago, if it's Carolina, you always have concerns. Hey, I'm going from college to the NFL, and my concern is how do I fit? Or how can you supply me with enough talent around me so I can flourish, so I can help our team? I get that point. But he's just going around and around and around the bend, Cap, trying to crap on the Bears more so than talking about how Caleb Williams can increase the chances of the Bears winning. You heard all of this.
I heard the whole thing, and I went back, and on the way in today, I listened to the entire interview again with Sylvia and with Jesse.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. Look, I'm not the biggest cowherd guy. I never have been.
But what about the marketing girl?
Exactly. She's got a marketing girl. Really? How about a marketing person? This is 2024, Colin.
He's got a marketing girl.
I mean, wow.
Whoa.
Look, let me just tell you this. If Poles finishes all his work, and at the combine, he's not going to throw at the combine. He'll have a pro day. But he gets the medicals, and the doctors say, we checked the medicals. You're good there. Mm-hmm. Okay, how about the psychiatric tests that they give you, all these different tests? Can you handle pressure? Can you this? Can you answer that? And that isn't the be-all, end-all, because we know C.J. Stroud had a horrible score and ended up becoming the Rookie of the Year.
Sure.
If he passes all that, and then Poles brings him in with one of his what's called 30 visits, you get 30 of these, and he spends a few days in Chicago, and he passes all those checks, the Bears are drafting him. Washington is not going to hand you 74 draft picks and Daron Payne and Terry McLaurin. Oh, and you know what? Give me that punter, too, because I feel like it. They need to rebuild through the draft. Mm-hmm. And John Keim, the Washington Commanders reporter, the reporter for them, was asked about Kingsbury coming in and what does that mean for Caleb Williams.
Multiple sources with Washington have said that they know the roster needs a lot of work and they're intent on building through the draft. Giving up multiple picks to move up one spot might not match with that desire. And keep this in mind. Current Washington quarterback Sam Howell and potential number 2 pick Drake May both excelled in the air raid offense at North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the same offense that Kingsbury's bringing with him.
Yes.
That's what he ran. So if Poles wants Caleb, and by all accounts it sounds like he does, he's going to be the quarterback of the Bears. And all of the people out there are like, we can get 74 picks and 9 players. It's just not going to go down like that.
We just got to turn the page on all of that. I mean, and again, I'm surprised that Adam Schefter, who is you talk about someone who has insight and has all the information on his Twitter feed, just kind of throwing it out there. Yes, there is a history between Kingsbury and Caleb Williams. It doesn't necessarily mean that the Bears are going to go down to 2 to try to help Washington. You got to help yourself.
Correct.
You try to get the best of the best. You get the best deal or the best draft pick.
Correct.
And at this point in time, the number 1 pick is going to be Caleb Williams. Unless there's something else that we don't know, Caleb Williams is going to be the number 1 pick for the Chicago Bears.
Correct.
So I just think that conspiracy theory is one thing. But the Colin Cowherd thing, and again, if you missed it, you got to listen to Waddle and Sylvie from Friday. Just how Colin was twisting and turning his, not necessarily fact, his opinion about the Chicago Bears. And by the way, what he said about the Bears and their history is absolutely correct.
Yes.
I know sometimes when you hear from someone from the outside talking about us, it stings the nostrils a little bit.
Correct.
I'll crap on my team. You don't get to crap on our team.
Don't you say something about my kids.
I'll do it.
I'll handle it.
I'll tell you how bad my kids are.
Right.
I don't need you to tell me how bad my kids are. But I mean, everybody knows that the Bears have been a backwards franchise for a long time. They're trying to reimagine the franchise by, again, leveling the franchise the way they did with Poles. Warren is in there. They're trying to do something different, something that we haven't seen before, Cap, and that is to take it to the studs, to try to build on something. Usually they throw money in a hole here and there, or turn a blind eye to what the Bears really need in free agency in the draft, and then say, we're just going to move forward with it. Cap and I just last week went through certain teams that the Bears that the Bears had that they should have been able to get key free agents or key draft picks, and they didn't do it because of ineptitude. But I feel like Poles has his pulse on it. Now it's about getting results.
Correct.
We're asking you the question, does it really matter if Cliff Kingsbury is in Washington? When it comes to the Bears, does this have any relationship to the Chicago Bears at all?